Hello everyone, Netherrack right here, and today we're going to be looking at a resource pack that I had my computer made, or an artificial intelligence, make. So every image you're about to see on these textures have been generated by a robot or an artificial intelligence. I've trained a very weak model to make look at Minecraft images and then try to make its own. And then I put all of those images into a resource pack. And we're going to be rating and reviewing every single block that it generated. So let's begin. First block up is granite. So, as its own individual block, it's good. I don't really like what is going on right here, in that it's kind of got this weird chunkiness going on to it. As its own block, I kind of like it. So let's take a look at what it looks like on a wall. So yeah, this little blocky chunk right here kind of makes it a bit unpleasant. I don't know why you would want to use this, but I kind of like it. It kind of matches the actual color of granite in the real world. And, so, yeah, granite doesn't rotate like other blocks. So, As its own block, I kind of like it, except the only problem I have really is this right here. This is the issue problem right here. Everything else is fine, I like it, but this right here is the problem. If I had to rate this, I'd probably rate it a 4 out of 10, right? Up next is Diorite. Ooh, it's kind of interesting. It's a bit more, a lot more purple and pink. Still kind of looks like proper, correct Diorite. As its own block, I kind of like it. Ooh. So it's seamless. If I was to turn off F1 and like get into a wall, shake my camera up, and then I can't really tell where the block ends and begins without having my cursor on it. But yeah, I like it. It's a bit, it looks like a bit of cookies and cream, maybe. Like if you ever had, cookies and cream kind of mixed in, but then compressed down. It doesn't look like, I prefer the original Diorite texture, but this is okay. I'm going to rate this. As zone block, it's pretty good, and it's seamless too, so I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10. Up next is andesite. Ooh, this is, not the correct color. And what's going on here, there's one really dark colored pixel right in, like, the smack center of it. It's on every side. As its own block, I kind of like it. I don't like this little dot right here. Ooh, I don't like what's going on here. So, the first thing that's visible is the pixel, as I mentioned before. It's very visible. It's the darkest pixel on the entire thing. And you can kind of see at the top or bottom of the block, there's kind of a line. It kind of creates this, like, you can tell where the blocks end and begin. Like, you can't tell the size, but you can tell the top and bottom kind of end and begin here. And you can even see on when it's rotated like this. So I do not like this at all. As its own block, I kind of like it, except for the pixel, and as a whole, building block next to each other, I don't like it because it's got the lines and the dot. So I'm going to rate this a 4 out of 10. I would not see myself using this. Next is basalt. I kind of actually really like this. It's interesting. It kind of looks like what you would see basalt look like in the real world. And it's its own block. I really like it. It's like, yeah, it's cool. It's cool looking. See what it looks like as a thing. So, of course, basalt rotates on axes like logs do. On the floor, it looks pretty good. Axis Y, axis Z, and axis X. I really like axis Y the most. I don't know which one the floor is. I think the floor is Z. That kind of matches up. I kind of like Y the most. I could also see myself using X. Well, X and Z kind of look the same. Slightly different, just slightly. But I like it as a block, so I'm going to rate this. The zone block is pretty good, and it looks pretty seamless. Like, I can't tell where the block ends and begins without my little crosshair indicator for blocks. So I'm going to rate this an 8 out of 10. I really like this, and I could see myself using this. Blackstone. Ooh, what in the universe is happening here? I am not liking what I am seeing. It does not have any texture going on. It's just like black pixels of different darkness placed on a block randomly. Ooh, and it looks like it even got some green going in there, but I am colorblind, so I can't confirm that. It's got, again, the line problem, where you can see the tops and the bottom of the block are very visible. There's no, like, texture on it. It's just like a block that's like a gradient was shoved down into a single block. And all that gradient is just black, so it looks boring. I do not like this block. I wouldn't see myself using it. I'm going to rate this a 3 out of 10. I do not like this. Moving on, we got Polished Diorite. As its own block, I really, really like this. It looks really good. Like, it kind of reminds me of the 1.17 calcite, but like a smooth version of calcite. Like, it's really cool. I could see this maybe if they added smooth calcite, this would be like an appropriate texture for it. I really like this as its own block. Ooh, yeah. So it's got some pretty bad seaming going on, in which you can, even without crosshair indicators, you can see where the block ends and begins. Even if I back up or get in close, you can see where the block ends and begins. So this is not a good building block. If you want to like use it for a wall or for a house, or as its own individual block, it looks just fine. But put it next to itself and it looks horrible. It looks like a checkerboard pattern going on here. You can see where every block ends and begins. So I like it as its own block, but I do not like the fact that it's such a seam texture. So I'm kind of torn on this. I'm going to have to rate it a 6 out of 10. I like it, but could be better. Up next is Blue Terracotta. Again, we got kind of the same issue going on with this one, with Blue Terracotta, with same with Blackstone, and that it's not a whole bunch going on. Now, to be fair, this is the default, I think this is, lime terracotta, and not much is going on in it. So I guess it's fair. The terracotta blocks are kind of boring. Their texture mostly just consists of different, slightly colored versions of that color. So this is just blue. I mean, I like it. If you had never shown me what proper terracotta looks like, and you had shown me this as terracotta, I'd be like, this looks fine. I wouldn't think twice about it. But knowing what terracotta should look like, I don't like it. But if you had never shown me what terracotta looked like, I would have loved this. Now let's see what it looks like. It's got, again, slight problem. Instead of the bottom of the block, it's kind of the side of the block now. You can see where the side of the block ends and begins, but it's not that visible, and you have to look kind of closely. So there's no dark pixels, no major seaming going on. So it's a pretty good block. I just wouldn't see myself using this unless you had brainwashed me to forget what terracotta looked like and then slip this into my game files without me knowing. So it's good, but I wouldn't use this. So I'm going to rate this a 7 out of 10. Up next, we got bricks. I'm actually really surprised that the AI managed to get this correct. I had to allow a bit more pixels for this one to actually go because it wasn't liking 16 pixels, so I had to give it more pixels to work with. So I'm seeing that in this one, it's kind of does what some resource packs do, and that some of the bricks are more brightly colored than others, and some are darker colored, and it's kind of got like a tarnished look. Now, I myself prefer the beta bright red bricks with white outlining. These ones have black outlinings, but I could see myself using this, so let's see what it looks like. Well, so right off the bat, I noticed there's this kind of same issue with the line issue. It's not a seaming issue. It's actually kind of a seamless texture. If you look closely, okay, that's the issue right there, but if you're looking at it from the side, you can't really see where the blocks end and begin. Kind of looks like the bricks connect to each other pretty well, but then it's got this like weird red streak going on it. Creates this Like, if you got rid of this red streak, it'd be a perfect block. And maybe kind of touch up the top, so it's a good block, but the red streak is fine. I like it as its own block. It looks unique, but when you put it next to itself, it doesn't look that great. So I'm going to rate this a 5 out of 10. It's a solid block, but I wouldn't see myself using this. Cobblestone. So this one, again, has a bit more pixels for it to go with. It looks like, a texture cobblestone, although it's not the correct color for cobblestone to be. Now, cobblestone is not a real thing. There's no such stone as stone. So, there's no stone called stone. And most stone is just a dark gray. So this is, pretty accurate. Doesn't look like Minecraft cobblestone. We got a tiny bit of seaming going on because the bottom part of the texture has bigger cracks to it and the top has smaller cracks, so it kind of creates this weird seaming issue. But if you kind of like look at it from a distance, it doesn't look that bad. Kind of looks fine, but you can't like up close and you kind of look into it and it's like, yeah, it doesn't look right. So it's not the correct color of cobblestone, which I'm not sure if I should judge it on that, but I am going to. And it looks like more like a mud block. Like if Minecraft had mud, this would be that texture. But Minecraft does not have mud, it has cobblestone. So as cobblestone, I don't really like this. Although I'm pretty surprised, I'm really impressed the AI managed to do this. So I'm going to rate this a 6 out of 10. Block of emerald. Again, same issue going on with blackstone. There's not much going on. Right off the bat, I can tell that the top of the block is more lightly colored than the bottom part. Like the bottom part appears dark green, and this appears like light green. And there's not much going on. It just kind of looks like, again, a green block with some variance. And let's go and see. Ooh. So this looks like if those cursed videos you see on YouTube where they shove two slabs that aren't supposed to be combined into a block and then it looks like this. This looks like if you shove two illegal slabs into each other and then call it a block. And it looks like the top block is super light colored and the bottom block is super dark colored. And it just does not look good. I do not like this block at all. It does not look like emerald. I mean, at least you got the green right, but it doesn't look good. So I'm going to rate this a 2 out of 10. I would never use this. I do not like it. I just don't see any practical what else this could be. Gravel. Ooh my baby, where have you been all my life? You looking sexy right here? Now this gravel instantly reminds me of the Minecraft beta gravel. I really love the old gravel texture, and this instantly reminds me of it. It's got a lot of chunkiness going on, a lot of yummy crunchiness. It just looks like a very solid block. Like if they had given me this gravel instead of the gravel we have now, I would have accepted this. This looks beautiful, stunning actually. Like this looks like what gravel should be. Oh, and baby, it's a perfectly seamless texture. Like you cannot tell where the block begins and ends if you get up real close. And looking afar, it looks just fine, and it looks like what gravel would look like. It's very good. I don't see any downsides to this. It looks like beta gravel. I love beta gravel. I know that's opinion. Not everyone likes beta gravel, but I like beta gravel. It's just a solid looking block. So I'm going to rate this a controversial 10 out of 10. I love everything about this block. In fact, I want to put this block into my mouth. If I could, I would. And this block is going into my mouth if it could, but it can't. So we're going to move on. Lapis lazuli block. It's interesting. It doesn't really, it's the correct color for lapis lazuli. It's got like variants of blue and a bit of white in there. But you know what this would be a lot cooler as? It looks like blue netherrack, or blue classic netherrack. So a lot of people, have done blue classic netherrack, but this looks like the perfect texture for blue classic netherrack. Like it's green. Like I can't show you netherrack because that's one of the blocks that's been changed by this mod. But this looks like the old netherrack texture, but blue. And I like the old netherrack texture, and I like the color blue. So it combines two of my favorite things into one. However, this is not blue netherrack, this is lapis lazuli block. And it's a seamless texture. If I get up like close, you can't really see where the block ends and where it begins. You just kind of see the block. It's very seamless. You don't see any lines issues. There's a good amount going on. It's kind of like where it's so chaotic that it's boring, but I prefer to have a more chaotic block than a boring block like Blackstone or Emerald that we've gotten. So this is good. I like it because it looks like blue Netherrack, and I've always wanted that as a kid. And I like the classic Netherrack texture, but this isn't blue Netherrack, it's lapis lazuli. So I'll give it an 8 out of 10. It hits all the right feel spots, but it's not good for lapis lazuli block. Up next is Netherrack. It's like, where did all the texture go, you know? In classic Netherrack and modern Netherrack, they have cracks in them. This just looks like you erased all the cracks and filled them back in. This is what the background of Netherrack looks like. And it's like, this was maybe a warp, like a wart block, nether wart block should look like. But this, like, they removed all the crunchiness from Netherrack, and that's what made it so good. Oh, and because of how Netherrack rotates, it's got this block, and again, it's got the line issue. And the line issue is really exemplified. I mean, it's not that bad of a line issue, but it's visible. And of course, how Netherrack is rotated is dependent on the position in the world, so it's very random. So, and like some of it, like is dark. The other half is really bright. Again, part of the emerald block issue we had earlier. So I do not like this. I mean, I don't know. This doesn't look right. It kind of looks like a hell block, so it fits the theme at least. Like, I could see this in hell. I mean, it looks like hell to me because this is what Satan would punish me if I ever had, like, I get killed, I go to hell. This is what he would punish me. So put me in a room with this texture for 20 million years. And I just have to stare at it and go insane because it's not good Netherrack. It's the worst Netherrack. I do not like it. I'm going to rate this a 1 out of 10. It took away everything good about Netherrack and added more of what made Netherrack boring. So we're going to move on. Oak planks. I'm actually really surprised the AI is able to get this accurate color of planks. Like, I know I can't show you what proper planks look like because obviously it's right in front of you, but it looks just like the classic oak planks texture. It's got a little issue here where the line kind of goes to the next pixel, and a little bit of that down here, but the top half looks really good. And it's not perfectly on center. It's got a little bit of like wonkiness to it. I don't know what's going on here, but it's the correct color. Half of the block has got the thing, and I'm really impressed that the AI managed to do this. And it's, well, now that I see it next to itself, the bottom, again, we have the emerald problem going on here. The bottom half is really dark, and the top half is really bright. And that creates like a contrast, but it looks fine. And it's also, you can definitely easily see where the block ends and begins because of how the darkness works. And so it's a very seamed texture, you can see. And it doesn't look good on the floor. It kind of looks good on the wall, but on the floor it looks really bad. Like, it's really bad, and I don't like it. So I'm kind of torn on how I feel about this block. I'm impressed, and I'm also kind of disappointed. So I'm going to rate this a 5 out of 10, because I feel torn on it. Purple wool. So, I don't know what's going on here. This looks like, I don't know, like a... It's like it just grabbed purple and sludged it everywhere. I don't know. It kind of looks like maybe... I don't know. Maybe did it try to make a mystic block? You know, like you see a lot of mystic wool or mystic carpet. That's what it was going for. And purple is kind of like a magical color. But I don't imagine it's going to look very seamed. Yeah, again. And I didn't even notice this before. There's this like black texture going on in the very edge of it. And that creates this really issue. And the top half is empty, but the bottom half is chaotic. And it just doesn't look very good. So, as its own block, I would kind of like it, but as a texture, like a wall, I hate it. So, I'm going to rate this a 3 out of 10. Up next is the purple block. It's actually pretty interesting looking. Now, obviously, this looks nothing like what purple should look like besides the purple. Also, there's very little, I don't think there's any white in the original purple texture. Actually, now that I think about it. But if you had, and if this was an alternate timeline texture of purple, I could see myself getting used to this. Now, I don't know what purple pillar would look like, or the other versions of purple would look like. And this, purple itself is supposed to be a very calm block. This looks very chaotic. I like that it's very seamless texture. It looks like it kind of blends in well. Kind of this weird thing going on in the middle. The edges look very, chaotic, but the middle kind of calm. I like it, but it's kind of weird. I'm just not used to it. So I like it, but it's kind of weird. So I'm going to rate this a 7 out of 10. I like it. Up next is the redstone block. And right off the bat, what is this? What is this, like, face going on here? Kind of like there's just someone took a Sharpie and drew on this block. And then put 2 dots down. I don't know what's going on here. And it's even, oh, it's horrible. You can... I mean, it's a seamless texture. Like, if I get in here and start doing this, you cannot see where the block ends and begins. But it's, not looking good. Like, this is just the most, if it wasn't for this right here, this black part, I would love this block. It would look like a cool, corrupted, maybe this would look like what Netherrack could have been. Like, just a darker red Netherrack, but this blackness ruins everything. So if it wasn't for the blackness, this would be a really cool block. Even for redstone, it would look pretty cool, but that black stuff just ruins everything. So 2 out of 10. I don't like the black stuff. Up next is sand. I like the middle of it. I don't like what's going on here in the corner. It looks like maybe a big rock and then a smaller rock, and it looks like it's kind of got this color distorted. The middle looks just fine. Like, the middle looks like really cool. And then, oh yeah, look at this. And because of how sand is randomly rotated, you got these weird stones going on. You like, kind of make footprints. It looks fine block except for the corner, these 2 corner pieces right here. But other than that, it looks pretty good. It looks like, more realistic sand rather than the bright, vibrant, cartoony Minecraft sand that we're so used to. But I just do not like these little, I guess they're rocks in the corner. I don't like what those are, so I'm going to rate this a 4 out of 10. Soul Soil is up next. So, it's the correct color for Soul Soil. I don't remember if there's supposed to be, like, a face in Soul Soil. I remember there being a face in Soul Sand, but this is Soul Soil, not Soul Sand. It looks cool in its own block. I could see this. It's got a bit more pixels than the typical. I had to allow more for this to work. It's almost too high quality. Maybe I didn't want to mess with the texture pack in any way or like influence it, so I just let it be. But maybe if you were to take this and then shrink it into half, like half this block, or I guess it would be quartering it, and then like that would be the full block, I could maybe see that. But I don't like higher quality blocks. And again, I don't like this. You can visibly see where every block begins and ends on every single corner. So it's a extremely themed texture. I do not like it. And yeah, it's not a great block. It wasn't the most exciting block. It kind of looks like, it looks like Soul Soil, I guess, on its own. But then this just ruins everything. Like, it's completely a seamed texture. So that ruined everything. So I'm going to rate this a 3 out of 10
and I'm just very disappointed in this. Next, we got stone. So it's a very different color. It's almost like the correct color, but just slightly different. And this one appears to be, 16 bits to 32. I don't know why it went from like more realistic looking cobblestone to a more fantastical stone. I mean, I guess there are stones in the real world that look like this. Again, the same issue with blackstone and blue terracotta. There's just not a whole lot going on here to enjoy. It's kind of boring. It's not really fun. I mean, the stone block isn't really supposed to be fun. It's just supposed to be that one texture. And, oh wow, I didn't even notice this, but again, it's not as bad as the emerald block, but we have a slight issue where the top of the block is a different color of light than the bottom of the block. And stone on the wall is always the same, but stone on the floor is randomly rotated. So it creates this weird issue where we can see some lines going. So as a stone block, it looks fine, just a little bit weird, but then this kind of knocks it down a couple pegs. So I'm going to rate this a 4 out of 10. On its own, it looks fine, but then this just, especially the floor, that's the main issue. So 4 out of 10. Up next is stone bricks, and I am already really impressed that it managed to almost accurately recreate the Minecraft stone bricks. Not the correct color, it's more kind of like a bluish going on, but I really like it. I don't know if I like it, I'm more impressed, and maybe that's just making me think I like it, but on its own it looks really good. It looks like, it's got the correct... I mean, there's not much going on in the real stone brick. It's just kind of like, 2 lines. It's got a little weirdness going on in the corner and right here. But let's take a look at what it looks like. Actually looks decent. And I kind of like this, where it makes it look like... the blocks are kind of like slanted, but yet solid. I'm trying to remember what the default stone brick texture looks like. Something about this feels off. Like, it's very seamless. Like, I didn't even know I was looking at the middle of a block right there, but... So it's very seamless. I like that. It looks good on the floor, on the walls. I didn't do the ceiling, but... It's going to be the same as the floor. So it's very seamless. I feel like maybe there should be like a line right here, because that would split the blocks into half. But then again, that would look more like the real purple texture, where it's kind of like 4 segments. The Minecraft stone brick is supposed to be 3. So I like it. It's classic to the original. I'm going to rate this an 8 out of 10. I like it. I could see myself using it. Up next is yellow glazed terracotta. So, already, this looks like you took a boring block and then added a bunch of not boring colors to it. Like, it just looks like a bee came along and just, dumped his pollen all over it. Take a look at what this looks like. And so we got west, north, east, and south. Kind of looks, again, just like a bee took its pollen and dumped it all over a block. And even though these are all different rotations, they all look the exact same, except for the floor. Maybe, like, if I do this, you can make, like, a cool looking texture on it, because I know people like into Minecraft to do, like you can kind of make like a sundial, or I don't know, that a swastika? Did I accidentally make a swastika by accident? I do not know, and I'm going to destroy that before people say I made that on purpose. But maybe you could try to make one of those like cool textures. I just don't see it happen. There's not a lot going on in it. It's just kind of chaotic. It's too chaotic to make art out of. Like, maybe you do that.
Again, another fucking swastika, but you know, we're not here to look at swastikas. So it's a very boring block. It tries to excite me with colors, but it's only two colors, bright yellow and then not as bright yellow, so I don't like it. I rate this a 3 out of 10. Polished basalt. It kind of reminds me of gravel, but actually I want to check something. So this is completely by accident. The AI is not supposed to make the blocks, match in any way, shape, or form. But this actually, kind of looks like... It looks like if basalt, this outer texture right here is like the bark of basalt, and then by polishing it with the stone grinder, you kind of like peel that off and get to the yummy inside. And then on the yummy inside is this delicious texture. So it really goes well, and it's very seamless too, so that's a plus. Again, it's not much going on as much as the default basalt, but they're not supposed to be related, so that's kind of a bad thing for me to even be judging. It's a very boring block, but I mean, this is completely coincidental. The fact that it matches, like, actual, it looks like a carved version. You know how wood has its what's it called? I don't know if it's sheared, it's axed version. This looks like if you peeled off the bark of basalt, and this is what's underneath it. And that's completely by accident, but I like to think that it's not, even though it completely is by accident. But on its own, it looks kind of boring. Again, it's a seamless texture, there's no line issues going on, but it looks kind of boring. And you can't really tell the difference with rotation. So, it's kind of boring. I don't like it nearly as much as the default basalt texture, and I just keep coming back to default basalt. I'm trying to make them correlate, but they just don't. But I like it, and the fact that it kind of looks like it goes with basalt, even though it's not supposed to, is pretty cool. So I'm going to rate this a 6 out of 10. Alright, up next is Prismarine. It's, again, instantly reminds me of blue terracotta. Although it's got a bit more texture variant going on in it. Like, I can see a bit more color. It's a bit more crunchy. I like it more than blue terracotta, I'll tell you that. There's no visible, weird anomaly colors. They all kind of look blue. I'm colorblind, so I can't vouch that. There's a little bit of darkness, but it looks like it matches. And it's kind of, I can't really see, if I look very closely, I can see where the block ends and begins. Yeah, I was right, see? But otherwise it looks really cool. I mean, well, I forgot to, add the texture change powers of Prismarine. I could have done that, but I didn't want to interfere with the texture pack, so... Again, what's going on here? Oh, wow, I was actually very wrong, so... I thought that was its own block. I thought there was like a half block here, but no, it's not. See? You look at it and this must be a block, right? But no, it's actually half a block. Wow, so... I already confused the person looking at it, so that's pretty cool. I like it. It's like an alternate version of what Prismarine could have been. So, pretty cool. I'm going to rate this a 7 out of 10. Up next, we got end-stone bricks. Now, you're probably wondering why the hell is it red? Well, first off, the end is not a real place, so an AI has no idea what the end is. It just sees the word end and is like, okay, that means it's like some weird property of stone brick. And I like what's going on here. It actually looks more smooth than, more polished than the stone brick version. It doesn't have that weird line. It kind of looks nice. Although I do notice it has the line, so maybe we'll get to see what that looks like. Ooh, actually, I don't know if I like the line, because it creates this, the line shouldn't be there, because that is, should be its own brick, to make a stair step of bricks, but this kind of
ruins that. And the floor, that was kind of ruined. So I thought I wanted the line there, but I actually don't. So again, it doesn't match the overall aesthetic of the end, but the end's not a real place, and the AI doesn't know what the end is. So it's on its own. It's a pretty good block. I don't like that one line, but other than that, it's pretty perfect. So I'm going to rate this a 7 out of 10. It's good. Could be better. Up next is Endstone, and like I said earlier, it's not at all related to what's going on back there. It's completely different. They're not supposed to be related. They're not like interconnected, but it looks like weird gravel, but it's not as good as the gravel that I got. I like the gravel that I got. That's a good gravel, but this is it's interesting. It's interesting. Alright. It's a very seamless looking texture. There's no visible lines going on. If I get into a corner and like shimmy up and then look at the thing and then slowly creep across, you cannot see where the block ends and begins. So it's a very seamless block. It looks like gravel. It doesn't look like endstone, but maybe it does look like endstone. This is like what it looks like, you know, more realistic stone than endstone, but I like it. Kind of looks like gravel. Maybe I just have a thing for gravel, but it's not nearly as good as the gravel that we got. So I'm gonna rate this an 8 out of 10. I like it. I like it more than the endstone bricks, but of course they don't go together. So 8 out of 10. Up next we have Acacia Planks. I actually really like this. It kind of looks like a more chaotic wood plank going on here. Now, what I noticed right away is half of the block looks, you know, again, before it was top and bottom, now it's like left and right. This part looks dark, this part looks light, and I'm not sure how it's going to look in there, but it looks pretty good. You know, let's take a look. Yeah, that's what I thought. It kind of looks like a vertical slab was shoved into a dark oak slab. It's kind of interesting. It creates like, it doesn't have any lines going for it, and I'm actually now starting to think otherwise, because it actually matches up with itself on the floor. Let me just, I don't want to ruin anything, but does this match up on the ceiling too? It does. It matches up on the ceiling as well. That's actually really cool. So it's pretty cool texture. At first, well, then this happens. There's no way you can like rotate a block. Yeah, you can't do that. So this wall is not going to match up, but well, maybe because this is going on. I kind of like it. I kind of don't. I'm a bit torn on this. I like it more than I hate it. I'll tell you that. Or like it more than I dislike it. It's an interesting looking block. I'm actually interested to see what a lot of my builds would look like. I use Acacia, so it doesn't look like a proper plank, but it does look interesting. So I'm gonna rate this a 7 out of 10. Oh, what's this? A subscribe button. I'm gonna click it. What? I can't click it. I can't click it. Well, maybe you can, but I can't. So maybe consider clicking that subscribe button. And of course, thank you all so much for watching. And I'm going to upload some gameplay of what this texture pack would look like if you were actually play with it. And if you want to download this map or the texture pack that I use for it, it'll be in the description. All you have to do is, you know, put the save file in your, in your saves folder, and then put the texture pack into your resource pack folder. And that'll be all. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Adios, amigos.